Good day, everyone. Welcome to our part number 4 video series on how to inform and educate first-time sellers when it comes to selling their first property, what to do and what not to do. Now, in this video, I'm going to use a real case scenario of one of our listings where we were brought in to advise the sellers on the most important elements of renovations and what that resulted after we took over and also put it back on the market. So this video, I'm going to talk about the importance of renovations and what are important and what will not be so important. So anytime a seller invites us over and I'm talking to them, the question comes in, Saeed, what should we do for renovation? The short answer, it depends. Because it depends on the nature of the property, and if we are going to do some renovation, they have to be the most impactful, because a renovation seen from a lens of a seller is very different from a lens of a buyer. So let's walk through the examples, and also I'm going to use our townhouse listing as an example of it. So number one, first impression matters the most. Anytime I walk to a home and I'm giving a seller advice, I don't go seeing it from a lens of a real estate agent. I share my view seeing it from a lens of a buyer. So let's walk together. Now, if I'm coming towards your property, this is a detached home, curb appeal is a very important element. How the landscape is, whether it is a townhouse or a condo, if I'm walking towards your door, I do notice how well and nicely is the door kept and maintained, because that sets the impression for the rest of the home. And most important thing, as the door opens and I step inside, the most important thing that I look for is the paint color, because paint is the largest thing we see throughout the entire home. Now let's take our listing as an example. As we walked into this property, you will see that we gave our client advice on changing the paint color. Why? The bigger the visual, the more important is the emotion on the buyer. Paint is an example of them. So you see that before, what color the paint was of this interior and what also changed after. Very welcoming, very bright. The second element of a home, if you were to do renovation, is kitchen and bathroom. Now, research shows majority of the individual as homeowners, people especially who loves to cook like me, spend a lot of time in the kitchen. We socialize in the kitchen with our families, with our friends. Now, in this example, a kitchen doesn't mean a full redone. When you look at the before and after picture of the townhouse, what we initiated was to redo the surface coloring of the cabinet to let it match with the rest of the flow for the rest of the home. And you can see how beautiful the kitchen looks like. It's almost like a brand new. And bathrooms. Now, bathrooms, as every day we use first thing in the morning, as we take shower and get ready, it was important that when we looked at this listing, we said we need to take down all the wallpapers and redo it all with the same natural light color that flows throughout the entire home. So it gives it a very nice, refreshed look. And last thing is functions that actually provoke great emotions. Lighting is an example of it. Some listings we walk where, a light has been burned and it was replaced with something different color. Now, in this listing, we had those things. For example, in the master bedroom, you're going to see we took down the sort of like a little bit of an outdated fan. We replaced it with a simple minimalist light. So consistency of all the functionality throughout the home, predominantly with lighting and even certain small things, smart switches. You know how in certain listings, it's a little bit more labor for you to turn the switches from one end of the home to the other. If you replace them with a smart switch and make that accessible through smartphones, those little things makes a big difference. So what was the result of this renovation that we did? We invested $25,000 from the seller's point of view. And when we reintroduced this listing, we took it over because this listing was with a different agent, was listed at $1,150,000. We invested $25,000 and it sold for $100,000 than their previous listing price. Not a significant amount of investment, but it was impactful enough to change the perspective from a buyer's point of view. So this is our video series about when you're asking what to do for renovation. Hopefully it was informative for yourself. And if you have any questions, I'm just a virtual call away. Until our next video, have a fantastic day.